The twin suns of the distant planet Valira shone over the crystal city, making every tower sparkle like it was made of liquid light. From her balcony high above the grand courtyard, Princess Lyra watched the horizon. Her heart felt restless. Today was not an ordinary day. There was a feeling she could not name, a strange tension in the air like something was about to change her life forever. Lyra's people, the Illyrians, had always been cautious with outsiders. Their planet had been visited by many alien races, some friendly, some cruel. Humans were rare. Stories of them had traveled across light years, fierce, unpredictable, and brave beyond reason. Some elders called them reckless. Some said they were dangerous. Yet there had always been a spark of curiosity in Lyra's heart about them. She had grown up imagining what it would be like to meet one. Now, as the massive palace gates creaked open, that curiosity became reality. A single figure emerged from the sunlight. He walked with steady confidence, every step deliberate, every motion calm. His armor reflected the golden glow of the suns, and his dark hair was tousled by the gentle wind. The crowd of Illyrians fell silent, whispering among themselves. Humans were not common here, and even the bravest soldiers hesitated before this outsider. Lyra's chest tightened in a way she had never felt before. She could not explain it. There was something in his presence that made her pulse race. His eyes, a piercing shade of green, scanned the courtyard without fear. There was strength in him, yes, but also calm, an inner fire that seemed to draw her in. She had never met someone like this, and yet somehow she felt like she had been waiting for him all her life. The human did not speak at first. He simply walked toward the palace, ignoring the cautious guards who stepped forward to block him. His movements were confident but not arrogant, careful but unafraid. The Illyrians murmured nervously, unsure if he was a threat. But Princess Lyra, standing high above, could only stare, her heart both afraid and curious. "Who is he?" one guard whispered. "Human," another replied. "They say he is a warrior from the stars. They do not fear death. They fight with courage no other species has." Lyra felt a strange warmth spread through her chest. She had always admired courage, but this was different. It was not just bravery. It was something that stirred her very soul. She realized she was watching him not just with curiosity, but with a deep, undeniable interest. Every step he took seemed to pull her closer, as if invisible threads connected her heart to his. The human stopped in the center of the courtyard and looked up at the palace. His gaze was steady, almost challenging, but not in anger. In that moment, Lyra felt a shiver run down her spine. There was no threat in him, only purpose, only determination, and yet there was something more, something fragile, quiet, and profound. Her heart whispered a truth she had not yet understood. This stranger, this human warrior, had already begun to change her world. She felt it deep inside her chest, a soft but unstoppable pull, a longing she had never known before. Lyra's fingers clenched on the balcony railing. She had been taught to guard her heart, to remain cautious, to put her duty before her desires. But standing there watching him, she realized that some things could not be controlled. Some feelings were too strong, too immediate, too real. And for the first time in her life, she felt something she could not ignore. The human took a single step forward, and everything seemed to pause. The winds, the suns, the murmurs of the crowd. In that single moment, Princess Lyra knew her life was about to change forever. Something about this man, this human, had touched her in a way no one else ever had. Her heart, which she had always kept carefully hidden behind duty and protocol, had begun to recognize a force far greater than herself. The undeniable pull of destiny. The courtyard was tense. Illyrian guards formed a line, their weapons glinting under the twin suns. The human stood alone, unwavering, his green eyes calm yet sharp, observing everything. The crowd whispered, some in awe, some in fear. They had never seen anyone move with such confidence and purpose. Princess Lyra watched silently from above, her heart beating faster than ever. She could feel it, an odd mix of fear and fascination. The human was dangerous, yes, but not in the way they had been warned. His danger was in his strength, his courage, and the way he seemed untouchable. Not because he was reckless, but because he believed in something greater than himself. A guard stepped forward, voice firm. "Halt, state your name and purpose, human. You cannot enter the palace without permission." The human raised his head, his gaze steady. I am Captain Jackson of the United Earth Fleet. I come in peace. I seek to talk to the princess. A murmur ran through the crowd. Talk to the princess? Few had ever dared such boldness. Guards tightened their stance, unsure whether to trust him or throw him out immediately. Lyra's heart skipped a beat. There was something in his voice, calm, respectful, and honest. No arrogance, no lies, just pure determination. She had heard many words, but none like these. Something inside her stirred, a mix of curiosity and longing. She wanted to see him, to understand the man who dared to speak so freely to her people. One of the senior guards stepped forward, frowning. We cannot let him pass without proof of his intentions. Humans are unpredictable. Even brave warriors can bring destruction in moments of carelessness. Jackson's lips curved into a faint smile, but his eyes remained serious. I understand your caution, but I do not seek to harm. I am here to help, and if you doubt me, I am ready to face any challenge to prove it. The guards exchanged uneasy glances. No human had ever spoken with such composure before. Most would either beg for mercy or act aggressively to intimidate. But this one was different. He radiated a calm strength that unsettled them, but also inspired something deep within. Lyra felt her chest tighten. She had been trained to rule, to remain composed, to never let emotions rule her. Yet every fiber of her being urged her to watch him closely, to see more, to understand more. Her pulse quickened with a mixture of admiration and something far more personal, a warmth she had never felt for anyone before. The chief guard stepped closer, arms crossed. Very well. You may enter, but know this, one false move and we will stop you, human. Jackson inclined his head slightly. I accept. Thank you. As he walked through the gates, his posture remained straight, but his eyes constantly scanned the surroundings. He did not attack or provoke. He simply moved forward, every step deliberate, every motion controlled. His presence alone seemed to command respect, not through fear, but through courage and purpose. The Illyrians could not help but watch. Whispers turned into murmurs of admiration. Even the guards found themselves questioning what they had believed about humans. And Princess Lyra, she could not take her eyes off him. Each step he took felt like a heartbeat echoing in her chest. She realized that her curiosity had transformed into something deeper, something undeniable. A strange, unfamiliar feeling washed over her, something between hope and longing. She could not ignore it. Her heart, which she had carefully guarded for years, now seemed to have chosen someone. And as she watched the human warrior approach the palace, she felt a quiet certainty that her life and her heart would never be the same again. In that moment, high above the courtyard, Lyra understood one undeniable truth. Humans were unlike any other beings she had ever met. Their bravery, their resolve, and their honesty had the power to reach places that no words, no lessons, and no rules ever could. And for the first time she felt a daring spark within herself, a desire to know him, to understand him, and perhaps to trust her heart to him. The grand hall of the Illyrian palace was vast and gleaming, walls of crystal reflecting the twin suns outside. Princess Lyra stood at the center, her regal posture commanding attention, yet her heart fluttered nervously. She had watched Captain Jackson from the balcony, seen how he moved through her people with calm confidence. Now she needed to understand him for herself. Human, she said, her voice firm but measured, echoing in the hall. You have entered my city and faced my guards without fear. Tell me, why do you come here? Why risk yourself for a people who have never known you? Jackson bowed slightly, eyes unwavering. I come for peace, Princess Lyra. I come because conflict is never the answer. I come because I believe we can learn from each other. And I come because your people deserve safety just as mine do. Lyra's chest tightened. The words were simple, but something in his tone struck her deeply. There was no flattery, no pretense, no false respect. Just honesty. And for a princess who had grown up surrounded by formality and diplomacy, honesty felt rare, almost dangerous in its beauty. You speak of peace, Lyra said, walking slowly around him, examining him. But you are only one human, one warrior. How can you make a difference here? I am one, Jackson said softly, yet with a quiet strength. But one can inspire many. One can protect what is right, even when it seems impossible. And sometimes one can change the heart of a city, one person at a time. Lyra paused. His words were not boastful, yet they carried weight. She had seen leaders, generals, and diplomats try to sway her with power or promises. But this human spoke in a way that stirred something inside her, a feeling she could not name, yet recognized. Courage, yes, but also something more profound, a kind of unwavering sincerity. For the first time, Lyra felt her walls begin to tremble. She had always believed her heart belonged only to duty, to the throne, to her people. But watching him, seeing his calm determination, she realized that her heart might be capable of more than obedience. It might be capable of feeling something real, something human. "You are brave," she admitted quietly. "Bravery alone does not make trust. How can I know you will not bring harm? How can I know your words are true?" Jackson stepped closer, his gaze steady. "Because I am willing to show it. Actions speak louder than words, Princess. If you allow me, I will prove that my intentions are true. Not for glory, not for reward, but because it is the right thing to do." Lyra's breath caught in her throat. There was a strange magnetism in his presence. She felt herself drawn to him, not as a ruler to a subject, not as a princess to an outsider, but as one being to another. Her pulse quickened. She realized she wanted to see him act, to understand the depth of his courage and the strength of his heart. A flicker of a smile passed over Jackson's face. "I do not expect you to trust me immediately. Trust is earned, not given. But I hope that in time, you will see what I see in this moment. The chance for something better for both our worlds." Lyra's gaze softened, yet her voice remained steady. "Very well. Actions over words. Show me, human. Show me that you are not just brave, but worthy of the trust of my people, and perhaps of my heart." As he nodded, she felt an unusual warmth in her chest. Her heart, always so careful and guarded, was stirring in ways she had never allowed before. She could not deny it. The pull toward him was undeniable, powerful, and frightening. And yet, in the depths of that feeling, she sensed hope. A hope she had not felt since she was a child, dreaming of something greater than duty and ceremony. Jackson's calm courage, his honesty and his quiet strength had already begun to change the rhythm of her heart. And in that grand hall under the shining crystal walls, Lyra realized that her life and her heart might never be the same again. For the first time, she allowed herself to feel something personal, something dangerous, something entirely human. She allowed herself to wonder, could her heart truly belong to him? The peace of the Illyrian palace shattered like glass. Alarms blared through the crystal halls, loud and urgent. Princess Lyra's heart jumped into her throat. She had feared an attack, but never imagined it would come so suddenly. A rogue faction of Illyrians, dissatisfied with the idea of peace with humans, had launched a surprise strike. Blaster fire lit the halls, sparks flying off the crystalline walls as guards scrambled to protect the civilians. Lyra froze for a moment, watching from the balcony. The chaos was terrifying, and fear clawed at her chest. And then she saw him, Captain Jackson. The human warrior stepped forward into the storm, unarmed civilians behind him, blasters firing from all directions. His movements were swift, precise, and fearless. Jackson did not hesitate. With incredible skill, he deflected the first blaster bolt with his shield, then threw himself into the fray, protecting the guards and civilians alike. Every step he took was calculated yet fluid, as if he could predict the chaos before it happened. He moved like a force of nature, human yet beyond human. Lyra felt her breath catch. She had seen warriors before, soldiers of her own people, but none like him. Humans were often reckless, but he was careful, precise, yet daring all at once. The realization hit her hard. This man, this human, was willing to risk everything for people he had just met, for a city that was not his own. Tears pricked her eyes as she watched him shield a young Illyrian child from a stray blaster bolt. He grabbed the child, pulled him to safety, and turned to face the attackers again. There was no hesitation in his actions, no thought of fear. Only courage, only resolve, only protection. Her chest ached. Her heart, which she had tried so hard to guard, was pounding so fast it was almost painful. The human was everything she had not realized she wanted. Bravery, kindness, honesty, and an unshakable sense of purpose. She had seen people act with courage, but she had never felt it ripple through her chest like this before. The guards tried to fight alongside him, but many were terrified, unsure how to face humans. Jackson moved among them like a storm of hope, giving instructions, guiding them, shielding them. His green eyes met hers for a moment across the chaos, and she felt her knees weaken. It was as if he was telling her without words, "I will not fail you. I will protect you." Trust me, Lyra could no longer hide what she felt. Her heart belonged to him, she realized, in a sudden, undeniable rush of emotion. Not her duty, not the throne, not her training, her heart. It beat for this human, for his courage, his honor, his soul. The battle reached its peak as the rogue faction tried to break through the palace gates. Jackson stood in the center, moving like water, shielding the injured, confronting the attackers head-on. One rogue drew his weapon to strike him, and in a heartbeat Jackson intercepted, taking the attack without flinching. The Illyrians gasped. No one had ever seen a human act with such selflessness. No one had ever risked themselves so completely for strangers. Lyra felt tears streaming down her face. She had always known humans were brave, but seeing it, feeling it, watching it, it was overwhelming. Finally, after what felt like hours, the attackers were pushed back. The palace lay scarred, but the people were safe. Jackson stood among the debris, breathing heavily but unbroken. He looked up, eyes locking with Lyra's across the courtyard. She felt a wave of emotion she could not contain: awe, gratitude, fear, and an all-consuming love. In that moment, high above the shattered palace hall, Princess Lyra realized the truth she had been avoiding. Her heart had chosen. It had chosen him, the human warrior, in a way that no rules, no duty, no fear could ever undo, and deep inside, she knew this battle had only just begun, not for the city, not for peace, but for something far more powerful: the fragile, undeniable, extraordinary bond growing between a princess and a human warrior. The palace lay in quiet ruins, its crystal walls cracked and shimmering under the twin suns. Smoke rose from the damaged sections, and scattered debris reminded everyone of the chaos that had just passed. Princess Lyra descended carefully from the balcony, her steps light but steady, though her heart still pounded. She had watched Jackson fight with courage beyond measure, and the memory of his bravery burned in her chest. He knelt among the injured guards, checking their wounds and offering reassuring words. Sweat dripped from his brow, but his expression remained calm, determined. He had risked everything for her city, for her people, and even for her, though she had not yet dared to acknowledge it. Lyra approached him quietly, feeling a strange mix of fear, admiration, and something deeper, a warmth in her chest she could no longer ignore. You saved them," she said softly, her voice trembling slightly. Jackson looked up, his green eyes meeting hers. "I did what anyone would do," he said humbly, though she could see the exhaustion in his stance. "But perhaps not everyone has the chance to act when it matters most." She took a small step closer, unsure why her legs felt heavy. "You risked your life for strangers." "For my people, for me." Her words faltered at the last part, though she had whispered it almost without thinking. Jackson's gaze softened. There was a quiet strength in him that made her heart ache. "I would do it again," he said simply, without a second thought. "Because protecting others, that is what matters. And because I saw what was worth fighting for, even in the middle of chaos." Lyra's chest felt tight. She had grown up with duty and rules, believing that feelings were distractions, that emotions could be dangerous. But in this moment, standing before him, she realized how wrong she had been. Courage, kindness, selflessness, these were stronger than any rules, stronger than any law of her palace. And somehow, all of them were embodied in this human warrior. She crouched beside him, helping to tend to a guard who had a deep gash on his arm. "You are unlike anyone I have ever met," she admitted quietly, glancing at him. "Brave, honest, fearless yet gentle. How can one human carry so much strength?" Jackson's lips curved into a small, tired smile. "I don't know if it's strength," he said. "Perhaps it's just knowing what is right. Perhaps it's knowing who is worth protecting. I saw that today, Princess. And I hope you know you are worth protecting too." Her heart skipped. She felt warmth flooding through her, a realization she could no longer deny. She had been trying to guard her heart, to keep it hidden behind duty and walls of tradition. But now, standing here beside him, seeing the truth in his eyes, she knew she had already lost control. Her heart had chosen him. "You are remarkable," she whispered, "and I think I've been waiting for someone like you all my life, though I didn't know it until now." Jackson reached out slowly, hesitating just a fraction before his hand hovered near hers. "And I think I've been searching for someone like you," he said. "Someone brave enough to stand with me. Someone who sees the world not as it is, but as it could be. Someone like you, Lyra." A shiver ran down her spine as their fingers brushed, tentative yet electric, Her chest swelled with a feeling she had never dared to name before. Hope. Trust. Connection. She realized that their bond was more than admiration or attraction. It was a recognition of courage, honesty, and soul, the kind of connection that could endure beyond worlds, beyond fear, beyond danger. Lyra took a deep breath, feeling tears prick her eyes. Perhaps this is the beginning, she said softly, voice trembling with emotion. The beginning of something I never thought possible. With you? Jackson's eyes sparkled with quiet certainty. It is, he replied. The beginning of everything worth fighting for. And in the silence that followed, amid the ruins of the palace and the quiet murmurs of the people, Princess Lyra felt her heart open completely. She had seen bravery, courage, and sacrifice today, but more importantly, she had seen a human who made her believe in hope, in trust, and in the extraordinary power of love. For the first time, she allowed herself to feel it fully. Her heart belonged to him, and she no longer wished to fight it. The palace gardens were quiet under the soft glow of the twin moons. The air was cool, carrying the scent of alien flowers that shimmered in shades of silver and blue. Princess Lyra walked slowly along the marble paths, her mind heavy with thoughts she could no longer ignore. The battle was over, her people were safe, and yet her heart was restless. It had found something, or someone, it could not let go of. She spotted Jackson leaning against a crystalline tree, his armor slightly scratched from the battle, but his posture calm, his green eyes reflecting the moonlight. For a moment she simply watched him, feeling an ache in her chest she could not name. Every action, every word, every glance of his had left a mark on her heart. Jackson, she called softly. He turned, offering her a small, tired smile. Princess, he replied gently, you shouldn't be wandering alone. It's late, Lyra shook her head. I needed to see you, she admitted. Her voice trembled, betraying the emotion she had tried to hide behind her royal composure. All day I've tried to understand this feeling, this pull in my chest, but now I realize. She stopped, taking a deep breath as her hands trembled slightly. Jackson stepped closer, eyes searching hers. Realize what? He asked softly, his voice steady, patient. Lyra's chest swelled, tears pricking her eyes. I realize that my heart belongs to you. I have tried to guard it, tried to stay composed, tried to follow duty, but I cannot. Every moment I watched you fight, every moment I saw your courage and kindness, I knew I was meant to feel this, meant to feel it for you. Jackson's eyes softened, a gentle warmth spreading across his face. He reached out slowly, almost reverently, and brushed a strand of her hair behind her ear. Lyra, I felt it too, he said quietly. From the moment I arrived, there was something in your presence that drew me. Something I couldn't explain. Until now. I understand it completely. My heart belongs to you too. Lyra felt tears slip freely now, her heart racing with a mix of relief, joy, and wonder. She had always believed in duty, in rules, in structure, but Jackson had shown her something far greater than law or protocol. He had shown her love, bravery, and trust. And her heart, so carefully guarded for years, had chosen freely. She stepped closer, her hand trembling as it reached for his. I was afraid, she admitted. Afraid of what I might feel, afraid of what it could mean for my people, for my throne, for me. But seeing you today, watching you protect everyone without hesitation, I know now that love is worth any risk. Jackson smiled softly, closing the distance between them. Lyra, love is the strongest courage there is. It can change worlds, hearts, and even destinies. And I promise I will never stop protecting yours and our future together. For a moment they simply stood there, hands intertwined, hearts beating in quiet harmony. The twin moons cast silver light over them, highlighting the sincerity in their eyes, the warmth in their touch, and the unspoken promise that neither distance, danger, nor doubt could break. Lyra laughed softly, a sound of relief and happiness that echoed through the still night. I never thought a human could make me feel this, she whispered, her voice filled with awe and tenderness. And I never thought an alien princess could teach me the meaning of home, Jackson replied, his smile gentle yet certain. In the quiet of the palace gardens, under the watchful glow of the moons, two hearts had found each other. Lyra's fear and doubt melted away, replaced with trust, hope, and a love that felt both new and eternal. For the first time, she allowed herself to believe in the impossible. that a human and an alien could not only coexist but thrive, united by courage, by trust, and by the undeniable power of the heart. And as they stood together, fingers intertwined, she knew with certainty her heart had finally found where it belonged. The night wrapped around them like a protective blanket, carrying their newfound love and promise into a future neither had dared to imagine. Until now, the city of Valira was beginning to heal. Cracks in the crystalline towers were being repaired, and the citizens moved through the streets with cautious optimism. The echoes of battle were fading, replaced by whispers of hope. And above it all, in the palace garden bathed in the silver glow of the twin moons, Princess Lyra and Captain Jackson stood together, their hands intertwined, their hearts aligned. Lyra took a deep breath, letting the cool night air fill her lungs. She looked at Jackson, her eyes reflecting both the moonlight and the emotions she had tried so hard to hide. "It feels unreal," she whispered. "After everything, the battle, the fear, the chaos, I never thought I would feel this so safe, so complete." Jackson smiled, brushing a stray lock of hair from her face. "I've always believed that the impossible is possible," he said softly. "But I never imagined it would feel like this. To stand here with you, to see you smile and know that we survived together. It's beyond anything I dreamed." Lyra's chest swelled with emotion. She had always been taught to lead with logic, to protect her people, to guard her heart. But now every lesson of duty seemed small compared to the truth she felt. Her heart had chosen freely, and in choosing it had found courage she had never known before. She was not just a princess anymore. She was a woman who had discovered the power of love, the strength of trust, and the extraordinary resilience of humanity. "You know," she said quietly, a small, playful smile forming, "I never thought a human could make me feel everything. Brave, safe, and alive." All at once Jackson chuckled softly, his voice warm and steady. "And I never thought an alien princess could teach me the meaning of belonging. Yet here we are, and somehow it feels like it was always meant to be." Lyra leaned closer, her forehead resting gently against his. She felt his steady heartbeat, his calm breath, and the quiet certainty of a man who had faced battles, danger, and the unknown, and had chosen to protect, not destroy. Her heart, which had once been cautious and guarded, now soared. It beat with joy, love, and an unshakable connection that words could barely describe. I want to face the future with you," she whispered. "Every challenge, every joy, every danger. I want it all with you by my side." Jackson's hand closed over hers, firm and reassuring. "And I promise, Lyra, I will. Through every star, every planet, every moment, wherever life takes us, I will stand with you, not just as your protector, but as your partner, your equal, your heart's companion." The moons above cast their gentle glow over the palace garden, illuminating the moment in silver light. Around them, the city breathed. The people worked to rebuild, and yet time seemed to pause. In that quiet, perfect instant, nothing mattered but the bond they had forged. Bravery meeting compassion, strength meeting trust, human meeting alien, heart meeting heart. Lyra lifted her head and met Jackson's gaze fully, a soft laugh escaping her lips. "We are unstoppable, aren't we?" she asked, half teasing, half in awe. Jackson smiled, green eyes shining with quiet certainty. "Together? Nothing in the galaxy could stop us." In that moment, the princess understood something she had longed for but never truly believed. Humans were extraordinary, not just in strength, courage, or resilience, but in the way they loved, protected, and inspired. And this one human standing before her had shown her all of that in ways no alien could. Her heart belonged to him, and he had chosen her in return. As they stood there side by side, the twin moons reflected in their eyes, Lyra felt the final weight of fear and doubt lift from her chest. The human warrior had not just entered her city. He had entered her life, her soul, and her heart, and she knew without a single shadow of doubt that together they could face anything, any star, any war, any future. The moment was theirs, timeless, unforgettable. Humanity and alien royalty, hand in hand, hearts united, ready to face a galaxy of unknowns. And in that truth, Lyra smiled, a smile full of hope, courage, and love, knowing that her heart had finally found its home.